Morning, all of you. Today we will continue with the civics chapter, the Indian Constitution, and we had a look at what is a constitution, what is the importance of a constitution, and a few things about the Indian Constitution. We also had a look at how the Constituent Assembly worked and it framed the constitution for our country, and we also had a look at what the preamble of our Indian Constitution it looks like. So the preamble, like I told you, it is like an introduction to the Constitution. So just like you have a preface in the book, so we have an introduction to the Constitution, which is called as a preamble. So today we will have a look at some of the keywords, the important words that are there in the preamble. Now the first is sovereign. Okay, now the words that with which the preamble starts, we the people of India. All right, and now that in itself is very significant because it shows that we are taking this preamble for ourselves. There is no external power which is enforcing this on us. All right, and so it basically states that the sovereignty it lies with the people of the country, that the freedom to take decisions, the freedom to rule, it lies with the people of the country and not with any external force like it was under the British rule. And when do we call a country which is sovereign? So a country is sovereign when it is free in its internal matters, means when you are free to rule yourselves in your internal matters as you wish, when you are free to make rules for yourselves, when you can put levy taxes as you want without any external interference. All right, and here in our country what happens, the elected representatives, we elect our representatives and they form the government on our behalf, and these people alone, they have the power to make laws and impose taxes on us. And they also can only do to an extent. All right, the constitution is made in such a manner, all right, so that the government can also rule over the people to a certain extent, because this is what the people of a country want. All right, and they do not want anyone to master over them like it was under the case of the Britishers or the colonial period. So when are we sovereign? When are free to make rules and regulations or rule ourselves as we want without any external interference. Socialist. Now the word socialist, it was later on added to the preamble, and this was to stress on the fact that the nation, that India, it strives for socialism and economic justice, means we want equitable distribution of national income to all people. Like equal distribution is not possible. Why equal distribution of wealth is not possible? Can you tell me? What does equal distribution of wealth means everyone gets the same salary. Do you think it is possible? Yes, class 8. Do you think it is possible that everyone gets the same salary, same money?
No, ma'am. No, ma'am.
Okay, why do you think it is not possible? Means only to what you can tell me. Why do you think that everyone cannot have the same salary or the same money?
Ma'am, because everyone have different professions.
All right, correct. Everyone has different professions. We have different educational qualification, we have different technical qualifications, the skills and the talents of the people differ. All right, so how can everyone have equal distribution? So our country strives to get equitable distribution. Now equitable distribution of wealth means that everyone could have a decent standard of living. All right, so our constitution, what it tries to establish a socialist society where all the people, even the workers, even they have equitable distribution of wealth and all have equal opportunities also. Not only the people belonging to the higher strata, but even the workers, the poor people, they also have equal opportunities for advancement and for progress. And it aims to even provide those measures, the country, it aims to provide those measures through which, the difference in the incomes of the people, it can be reduced. Okay. Secular. Now the word secular, now it was also not there in the preamble to begin with. It was amended through the 42nd amendment, and it was simply done to state against, all right, to reaffirm strongly the faith of our country, in making that, in stating that Indian politics, Indian governing is above religion. All right, means we will not involve religious matters or the belief of a person hindering the governing of the country. And in India we do not have any state religion. What that means is that the country, it does not endorses any one particular religion. All right, so India is not a Hindu country or a Muslim country or a Christian country. It is just a secular country. People belonging to all religions are treated equally before the law, and so no discrimination can be based on the can be made on the basis of religion in our country. And all people in India, though they may belong to different regions, different sects and different communities, everyone in our country, they are free to practice, means they can follow, they can preach, they can talk about their religion. All right, and everyone is equal before law. Everyone enjoys equal rights, no matter to which religion they belong to. Okay, democratic. Yes, what do you understand by the term democracy? This you all might be knowing a little bit.
Ma'am, rule of people.
Okay, rule of people. Now, democratic, basically this term in the constitution, it denotes that we the people of India, we have chosen democracy to be our way of life. And we want to say that we want to govern ourselves through proper democratic institutions. And now when we talk about democracy, equality, all right, democracy is based on equality and liberty, fraternity. So when we say that we are democratic, we only do not want to say that we are politically democratic, means everyone is treated equally on political grounds. That means everyone has the right to vote, every can stand for elections. But we also stand and strive for social and economic democracy, where every person not only has equal rights in voting, but they may also have equal rights in a society and equal rights to progress and for their upliftment. Now, in our country we have, like I told you, political equality, we have universal adult suffrage. That means we have the voting rights for all adult population in our country. But it would be better, and we are striving, we try to achieve that, though we haven't achieved that. But it would be better if we also had social and economic democracy as well in our country. Okay, next, republic. What is a republic? We have done this when we were doing the history chapter. What is a republic, class? Yes, come on, 8C. What is a republic?
Ma'am, when the ruler, ma'am, where the ruler is elected, not ma'am hereditary.
Okay, right. When the head of the country is a elected person and not a hereditary ruler. Okay, so our country, who is the head of our Indian state? I'm not talking about any particular divisions that constitute the Indian state, the Indian nation. Who is the head of a country? Yes. What do you think? Who is the head of Indian country, Indian state?
Ma'am, the president.
The president, right? And who is the prime minister? What is he?
Ma'am, Mr. Naren.
No, I'm not asking the name. I know you all might be knowing. Just like the president, he is the head of the Indian state. all right, or the Indian country, the prime minister, he is the head of the government. So prime minister is said to be the head of the government, whereas president is said to be the head of the Indian state. Okay, so the Indian president, we have elections for that, though not directly but indirect elections we have, and the president is elected by the elected representatives or the members of the Rajya Sabha and the Lok Sabha, and also the state legislative assemblies. So all of them, we elect them, and these people elect the president. And so our president is not a hereditary ruler like the king or the queen. Next we come to is justice. Now, justice is, okay, first you tell me, what do you understand by the term justice when we talk about just being just, all right, or justice? What do you understand by the term justice? Can anyone tell me? Means what comes to your mind when you hear the word justice? Yes, anyone?
Equal opportunity by everyone.
All right, so you mean to say like equality in a way, all right, treating everyone equally. Okay, so justice is basically the quality when we treat everyone equal. Means we treat everyone equal, we do not give special privileges, all right, special privileges or special advantage to anyone. Neither we hold prejudice against someone, or like we also do not treat some other person because of a preconceived notions without really getting to know that person. So justice is when we treat everyone equally without giving special advantage to any other person, or without dealing with that person on the basis of a preconceived notions. Okay, now when we talk about justice, it means that everyone should get his due, everyone should have equal opportunities, and we should give everyone his due. Means we should treat everyone equally, we should not treat someone below us or someone as above us. Now, Indians, we have already suffered so much under the British rule, under the colonial masters, and so that is why, because we have suffered so much under the British period, that is why the preamble in our constitution, it lays so much stress on justice. Now justice, it should not be limited, like we should not be only treating everyone equally in the political sphere, but justice, it should be all pervading. Means it should reach all right, it should be effective to all people, so it should reach all spheres, like social, economic, as well as political. Okay, the next term here is liberty. Now liberty, as we all know, it means freedom. Now when we talk about freedom, it means freedom not only of thought and expression. We are free to think or have our own concepts, and we are even free to express it anyway. Now that can be through our words, our talking, it could be through discussions, it could be through writing, it could be through papers, novels, all right, it could be through plays and drama, or it could be through art also, it could be through painting. So we have different ways to express ourselves, and we have freedom to do that in our country. And not only that, we also have freedom of profession. We are not bound to follow any particular any particular profession. Under the caste system, it was not so, and that is why it is so specifically given, because under the caste system, if a son of a cobbler was bound to be a cobbler, so he could not go and choose any other profession. He could not be a teacher, neither he could be a warrior, and he has to follow the profession of his caste. But now under a new constitution, we got the right, the freedom of profession also, so we could choose even any profession we want. And in our country, we have such a good example, all right, that anyone could be anyone. And so even a cobbler's son could be an IAS, and even just like we say so many times, he is such a good example that even a tea vendor, all right, or tea seller, he could also be the prime minister of a country. So there is no foundation as to which profession we have to follow. Then in addition to that, we also have freedom of faith, belief and worship. We are free to follow any religion. If we don't want to follow any religion, you are free to do that also. And when you are following religions, in each religion there are so many different ways through which people worship. So you can even do that, and you are free to do that. You have freedom for that. And under liberty, every citizen, they should be able they should be free to hold any belief and also to express it freely. And in our country, because we have freedom of religion, so we can choose any religion, we can worship in any way we like. And the preamble to the Indian Constitution, it lays emphasis on the freedom of belief, faith and worship. Now all this is done so that the unity of the country is upheld, and it is not compromised by fighting among the different communities living here. Equality. Okay, what do you understand by the term equality? Anyone? Equality? I think the name itself suggests so much. Anyone here? Equality. Come on, class.
Ma'am, treating everyone equally without any discrimination.
Alright. So treating everyone equally without any discrimination. But we just now talked about freedom, we talked about liberty, but there can be no real freedom till the time we have equality. Now till the time we don't treat everyone equal, alright, so how, till the time we don't give freedom to everyone, so how can we say that we are treating everyone equally? Now if some have freedom and some people don't have liberty, so how can we say that we are treating everyone equally? So there can be no real freedom without equality. So equality needs to be first. And so the preamble of an Indian Constitution, it also lays emphasis on equality along with liberty. So along with freedom, there is also emphasis given on equality. And that is why our constitution, it has done away with all the inequalities which are based on gender, race, religion, caste, creed, color. And that is why only untouchability has been abolished, so that now we treat, it is just to say that we treat everyone equal. And now all are equal before law, and we all have same opportunities for our advancement. Next we have is federation. India is a federal country. Anyone knows the meaning of federal country? When we say India is a federal country or India is a federation, do you know what we mean to say by that? Anyone? Do you have any vague idea about it? Anyone in the class? Yes, no? If you don't know, it's okay. Just simply say no ma'am, we don't know. Yes, class?
No, ma'am.
Okay. India, we say, is a federal country. Our constitution, it provides for a federal form of government. Now what that means is that the governing power is divided, all right, into more than one level. So we have government in our country at more than one level. So we have a central government for the entire country, and we have different state governments to rule the different states. Now that is how we started with. And so we have the central government and the state government. And like I told you, the president, he is the title head, means he is the head, title holding head of our country. And the prime minister, he heads the government at the state. So he is the head of the government at the, sorry, or not at the state, at the center. So the prime minister, he is the head of the government at the center. And whereas who makes the laws for the entire country? The parliament. It is said to be the highest law making body. So the parliament, it makes laws for the entire country. And then if we talk at the state level, so the governor, he is the nominal head, whereas the chief minister, he is the head of the government at the state level, whereas the Vidhan Sabha, they make laws for the state. Now, for the proper governance of the country, our country has been divided into 28 states, and I think in your books it is written 7 union territories.
Yes, ma'am.
It should be 8. Make it 8. As of now, we are 8.
Ma'am, where it is?
Beta, under federation. So, our country has been further divided into states and union territories for the proper and efficient governing of the country, and the powers. What would be the powers of each level of government, mean the central government or the state governments? Now, they have been clearly defined in the constitution. Now, when we started, we had two tiers or two levels of government. Later on, a third level of government was also introduced. What was that level? Yes, anyone? We have the central government, then comes the state government. We have one more level. No one? We have local self-governing bodies in the form of panchayats in villages, and municipalities and municipal corporations in cities and towns. So we later on also added a third level of government in our country. Now we come to the last term of the preamble, that is fraternity. Now fraternity basically means brotherhood. Now, the Indian constitution, they adopted fraternity because they wanted to make this brotherhood, love for each other, as the goal of the Indian constitution. And what we mean to say, that we may belong to any part of the country, all right, or we could be living in any region of a country, any state of the country, but first we are an Indian, and then we could be a Punjabi or a Bengali afterwards. So first we are Indians, and then we could say that okay, we are Bengali or we are Punjabi, and so on. Now liberty, equality and fraternity, they are all interrelated, they are related with each other. We have already seen that there can be no liberty without equality, so we cannot have any freedom till the time we have equality. And now we get to know that even fraternity, it is all interrelated. It is only when citizens, they are free, and when citizens, they are free, and they are bound by this love for everyone, the feeling of brotherhood, then only there can be equality. So when all citizens are free and they have this feeling of brotherhood, then only in the real sense we can have equality. And similarly, citizens with equal rights and equal freedom, and we can say the same thing. We can also show the relationship between these three in another way, and we can say that only those citizens which have equal rights and equal freedom, only they can live together with the feeling of brotherhood. Otherwise, if someone is treated, is given certain privileges and the others are deprived, then obviously you could not have that feeling of unity and brotherhood with that person. And so citizens which have equal rights and which have equal freedom, only they can have a feeling of brotherhood for one another. Okay, so have you understood everything that we have done till now?
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Is it clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Yes, ma'am.